Hi, everyone. Welcome back. And today we're very luckily joined by the number 6 ranked UFC bantamweight contender, the man who makes his return to action at UFC 287 against Adrian Yanez. Rob Font. Rob, thank you so much for giving us some time today, man. We really appreciate it. How are things with you, man?
Of course, man. Thanks for having me on, guys.
No problem at all. Look, let's sort of get straight into it. Obviously, the fight with Adrian Yanez, just sort of today, 2 weeks away. I heard an interview with Adrian where he said he thinks it'll be a fight of the night fight with you. How do you sort of expect this fight to play out? And in your mind, what are sort of your strengths that you think you can play to and take advantage of in this fight with Adrian?
Yeah, I definitely agree with him, man. This has fight of the night written all over it. The moment they threw the name out, this could be a good one because he brings it. He's got a lot of momentum behind him right now. I believe it's 11 fights in a row, 5 in the UFC with some finishes. He's collecting a lot of bonus checks, so like he's getting used to that. So he's gonna want to keep kind of like keeping that same momentum and those checks coming in.
Yep.
He has a fun style. He has a fun, friendly fan style as well. Like he's always looking for that finish. And as far as my game plan and what I have advantage over him, I believe is it's going to be the length. It's going to be the jab. It's going to be the sticking that long jab in his face all night and never letting him counter that.
100%.
For sure. So, Rob, divisions like bantamweight and flyweight have, they've really seen a resurgence. And bantamweight in particular is now, it's arguably the most stacked division in the UFC from top to bottom. Does this sort of newfound appreciation from the fans for your weight class, does it add any extra excitement or, stakes heading into your fight, knowing now that, the fans are actively following and really invested in the bantamweight division?
Yeah, definitely. You always want to I think, for myself, I personally think I always want to put on a great show for the fans. Adrian has a style as well. And, like you said, for the last, I would say 5 years, the bantamweight division has been on fire. So, and there's a lot of movement too. Tomorrow you have Cheeto and Sandhagen fighting. You just had Peter Yan, fighting Marab, and that was a great fight. You have the champ fighting Henry. So there's still a lot of movement, and then you throw in Sean O'Malley, which is probably one of the bigger stars in the division, or the UFC. So it's kind of like that. There's so much going on right now, and then obviously, throw my hat in there. You got me fighting Adrian Yanez. It's kind of like this. It's never clogged. It doesn't seem like it's too clogged up too much. There was a little clog when the Peter Yan Aljamain thing was going on. Besides that, it's not too much. There's always tough fights. There's always great entertaining fights from the champ to the top 5 to even not ranked to from 6 to on. It's like they're all bangers. And the fans, I think they appreciate the technique. I think they appreciate obviously the skill. They appreciate the power. And then I believe you're always going to get a well-rounded fighter, no matter who you fight in the bantamweight division, and they're always looking for finishes as well. So I think the bantamweight division is the place to be.
100%. Rob, look, man, something I want to sort of know is, and from us, a belated congratulations on the birth of your baby girl last December. Congratulations, man. And that's kind of my question is, obviously with the birth of your baby girl, I've heard fighters in the past speak about how their mentality kind of changes in the lead up to their fight and the way they approach fights now because you've got your daughter with you. So has your mentality changed at all in the lead up to this fight as opposed to your previous fight camps? Have you noticed any difference in your mentality?
Not necessarily too much of my mentality, more on my day to day. As far as I don't want to do anything but come home and just hang out with her. I'm not I'm fortunate enough to have an amazing fiance that makes it so easy for me to kind of just train. She's not only taking care of the baby, she's cooking, cleaning, and prepping all my meals and all my waters and I have so much laundry that she kind of just constantly.
I can imagine.
I got an all-star behind me, so it's. And obviously, knock on wood, I don't want to say it's been easy, but it's been a pretty smooth transition, So it's more of I got to slow down when I'm driving home from practice to make sure I don't get any speeding tickets. Home. So I think a benefit is that I'm resting more. I'm not on the golf course all day after practice. I'm not hanging out, just kind of just hanging out at the wherever, just kind of talking and just saying. So it's train, get out, go home. chill, relax, sleep, and I'm like almost waking her up just to see her. I think it's like my routine is more sharpened. There's no wasted energy, I guess you could say. No wasted movement. There's no more of the just hanging out with the boys at the coffee shop, just talking. Like get to work and get back to work. And I'm loving it. And like most people are like, oh, you need a break and you should go out and do this. I'm like, I don't want to leave her. I don't want to kind of I can like give her to my mom or Kathy's mom and just hang out. But I would rather just, even when they do come over, like we can just go hang out. We're like, oh no, this is boring. Let's go back home. Chill. It's more of like just wanting to see that smile, wanting to see her laugh, and just kind of like see her grow, see that personality. So it's, I would say the mentality's always been the same. The motivation's always been the same. There is, I would say there is more of a pep in my step for sure. And I'm just always in a hurry to get back home.
100%.
For sure. So Rob, circling back to the Henry Cejudo and Aljamain Sterling fight, while Henry is obviously a former 2-division champ, he's been out for nearly 4 years and he's jumping over a lot of contenders for that shot. Do you think that making these sort of title fights where someone kind of leapfrogs the division, do you think it kind of destroys, the meritocracy or the fairness of the sport? Or do you view the UFC, just trying to put on the biggest fights possible as it's just part of the game?
Yeah, I think it's, I think it's definitely just a business. I think what makes sense they're going to go with. I think as fighters, we all kind of know that. And as fighters, we all like hope it's us that they're kind of doing that too. Like if I was in Henry Cejudo's situation, I wouldn't say a word. I just kind of go flow. As far as like you said, like kind of being structured and having that the number one guy fights this guy. Like I think they're pretty good with it until you find like a star or a personality, and then it's kind of like, well, just give the personality or the star that treatment, which is again, if he was his shoe, I wouldn't complain. So it's more of like, obviously it's frustrating to kind of like if I was say like O'Malley or maybe like a Marab or somebody like that. Obviously it's trickier with Marab because he doesn't want to fight his teammate. But like say O'Malley, like could be a little more frustrating, but it's just part of the business. And I think UFC definitely take care of us, and if it's like, I do believe if it's like really like a big slap in the face, they're going to take care of you in the back end.
Yeah, 100%. Well, look, let's sort of talk about that fight, if we can, for a little bit. What sort of your thoughts on that fight, and sort of who do you favour in that matchup? Because it is such an interesting matchup. I mean, I know he's been out for so long, but it is a very interesting matchup. You got a guy in Henry who uses his wrestling, who will be able to take stuff the takedowns from Aljo potentially. It's a very exciting and interesting fight. Who do you have, taking that fight?
Yeah, man, this is pretty cool, man. I'm excited for that press conference. I'm excited for the fight. Yeah, they're gonna go full on WWE on this one. I'm excited about that. Obviously, the champ. I'm sorry, Henry never really lost the belt, so it's not like it's like, he just some names coming in and fighting for the belt. So he never really lost the belt. Obviously, he has been out for a while, so most people would like to see him get one more in before he gets that title shot. But it is what it is. As far as the fight playing out, I want to see how improved Aljamain Sterling's striking is, because he is the longer fighter. He is bigger than him. On paper, you got to give him obviously the wrestling advantage. So that's always gonna be interesting. Like obviously Aljamain's go-to and strong points are taking people down and riding them out and getting on top. I do believe he'll get one or two, but can he keep them down? That's going to be the hard part. Especially when like you have that high level wrestling and you're that kind of short, compact guy. I feel like those guys are hard to keep down. Like look at like the Volkanovski fight, right? Like the little short. They just pop up. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Like low center of gravity and all that. Yeah.
They're kind of scrambling and they're up, but he's been doing that for years. So it's kind of like I'm really interested in seeing it. As far as my pick, I can't go against the champ right now. He's been looking real good. He's doing his thing. He's bigger. He's been busy. So I think I'm gonna go with the champ on this one. But again, I'm excited. I won't be. I can see Aljamain winning a decision, but then I also could see Henry coming in and finishing Aljamain. So it's a tricky one for me. if Aljo tightens up his striking and that defense, I think he can skate away with this decision. But yeah, it's just fun, man. And again, it's gonna be a fun fight. It's interesting, and I'm just excited for that press conference.
100%.
For sure. Well, kind of talking on fun fights, and there's one fight in particular that I'd love to get your thoughts on because I've been going back and forth on it all week. But Marlon Vera versus Corey Sandhagen, I have been going back and forth on this one for a really long time. So I wanted to sort of get your thoughts on that fight. How do you sort of see the fight going, and who do you think you could see walking away with the W?
Yeah, so I think in this fight is interesting. It's definitely another fun fight, another main event. It's technically, I guess you could say, probably one of the more technical fighters in Corey Sandhagen versus probably one of the toughest fighters in Chito Vera. So it's more like that goon versus the technician. It's interesting. Obviously, I've been in there with Chito, and he doesn't get tired. He finds ways to win. He's going to be there for the whole 25 minutes. They're fighting in San Antonio, not the Apex. So there is a bigger cage, which might favor Corey Sandhagen in that sense. I think Corey Sandhagen kind of gets off pretty quick with at least work and touching with basic jabs and crosses. Cheeto kind of starts slow. The only thing I think that could hurt him is if he starts too slow, that Corey's too athletic to kind of just catch him. I think he can kind of get off a 3-piece and get out the way, get off another 3-piece, get out the way. Or it seems like lately he's been real smart about just closing the gap and kind of getting that riding time and not necessarily getting takedowns, but just kind of closing the gap, not getting hit, push him against the fence, run up a couple of 30, 45 seconds and breaks out, lands a couple of punches, and he back out onto his footwork. So it's if Chito doesn't get off early or hurt him early, I can see how it could be a longer night for him if he doesn't if he starts off too slow. I would love to see Chito win. I think it'd be better for me as well, but I think I'm gonna go with Corey on this one. I think he skates all the way to the decision.
100%. Rob, look, man, a couple last ones from us. Just quickly before I get to my question, I want to say you have one of the best MMA poster walls I've ever seen. That's pretty incredible, man. It's be you and Mike Goldberg up there at the tops that I've ever seen. But look, last one for me, man, is obviously, look, we spoke with Tyson Chartier middle last year, and when we spoke, we sort of spoke about you, and he said you guys are like brothers, and that your first ever round of sparring was with Tyson, and back in the day, and you at 19 you were 190 pounds and all this sort of stuff, came in big guy. It's evident the sort of path you've had with Tyson, being in the UFC now for damn near 10 years, yourself, and you've been through such a journey together. What impact has Tyson made on your life, not only as a coach but as a friend and as a brother?
Yeah, so I always say that if it wasn't for Kathy or Tyson, I definitely wouldn't be in the UFC. I can say that without a doubt. He's been a big brother. He's been a mentor. He's been obviously first started off as a training partner, and he's kind of shown me the smaller things, not necessarily like outside the cage. Not necessarily in the cage, but outside the cage, on how to carry yourself, how to keep relationships, how to build, how to not try to be the king all the time, not try to be the big guy all the time. For a while, I just wanted to fight anybody, whoever, anytime. I was down to fight Calvin for no reason. It was just kind of, I wanted that. I still had that, go beat the big guy at the playground to let everybody know that you're not be the one to mess around with that. And he kind of got me out of that mentality. He made me a little more strategic and to think a little bit more about what you're doing before you actually do it. Sometimes I just go. I don't even think. I just go and I'm like, wow, shit, why did I do that?
Yeah.
And he showed me hey man, take a step back, take a breath, check it out, wait. Time's always good. You don't have to rush into everything. He obviously helps me manage my career. He's also my coach, so he has a double role, which is tough. Because it's he's constantly always juggling, as far as making sure that obviously his coach's on point, but the manager's on point, and it's kind of messed up, but he really takes care of me and Calvin in a different way, he's we're like his guys, It's I don't want to say favoritism, but it's a little extra cherry on top of that sundae that we get. And you know, again, I wouldn't be in the UFC if it wasn't for him. And you know, that's my brother. I love him. And yeah, it's been a cool ride. And yeah, it's just been like and it feels like it just happened yesterday. Like it's like we're just getting started. You know, it's crazy how it all worked out because like he actually was my fiance's. Her brother and him actually worked together like while that started this and before he even started. So like he loosely knew of like of my fiance's brother, which they sat across from in a cubicle together. So then like once I started training, he would be like, "Hey, my brother-in-law actually trained at the same gym." He's like, "Who are you talking about?" And he's talking about Rob Font. And he's like, it all kind of connected, it all made sense. We finally kind of each other, and it was like it's supposed to happen, you know, like it literally was supposed to happen. I was in Florida at the time. She came down and she came back. I came up, and her brother's always been out here. They work together, and it's just like it's a small world, and it just kind of like it was meant to be. And then you add in Calvin, you add in like how everything kind of worked out, and it's just crazy how we're here, and it just feel like we're just getting started, and there's so much more stuff.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Well, look, Rob, man, last question from me because we don't want to keep you too long, especially, you know, keep you away from having some time with your family, of course. But look, man, you've fought the who's who of the bantamweight division for years now, you know, from Thomas Almeida to Sergio Pettis, Marlon Moraes, Cody Garbrandt. Are there any particular fighters left in the division that you'd love to test your skill set as a martial artist against?
Yeah, you know, obviously like Dominic Cruz was always kind of like in the mix as far as talking. I remember when I first started watching it, I wasn't even watching the UFC. I was watching the WECs, and he was Faber, all those guys. They were doing their thing over there. So like I didn't even know. I just knew WEC. I thought it was all the same thing. But so like I always knew of him. Obviously, he's one of the greatest to do it at 35. I always thought that'd be an interesting matchup. Obviously he retired, but Faber was always another one that I was like, hey, I'll you know, there's respect. I'd love to see how it match up with a guy like that. Currently, right now, you know, man, like you know, there's obviously I'd love to get any rematch I can get back. That'd be cool. Like a Page Cejudo, that'd always be cool. But yeah, I'll say like the biggest thing would probably be Cruz. I think that'd be the one like I wouldn't mind getting in there.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, look, Rob, thank you so much for joining us today, man. We really appreciate your time. You know, all the best leading into the Adrian Yanez fight, and man, we'd love to talk to you again in future.
Perfect, man. Again, just hit me back up, and we'll do this after the fight.
Thank you so much, Rob. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, man.